Hi everyone, Archbishop of the Nyana cult here. Today we'll be going through the new dragon gear released in the recent patches. The material for crafting the new gear is found through the daily Dragon's Vanguard dungeon and the weekly Dragon King and Queen raids. Unlocking these raids is a matter of completing the questline at Reverse Theater. Just follow the yellow main quest there until the end and everything should be unlocked. Unlike Flame King, the dragon mods are back to just providing Fizz or Psi crit damage, rather than conditionals, so there is no need to pick 2 out of 3 mods anymore. The material for crafting these is dropped from the daily Vanguard dungeon. To max out the Transcension with the 100% option, it will take about 150 fragments per mod. You get 10 a day, so that's 15 days per mod. There's no compatibility option with the FK mods, so it's best to wait until both mods are completed before replacing your FK mods. The Vanguard dungeon material is also used to craft the first 3 tiers of the new disc. The last 3 stages require materials from the Dragon Raid. And lastly, we have the new cores from Dragon Raid. For this new core, we have a pretty good revamp. Now the extra or red core can be directly transcended to from the epic core, meaning that you don't have to rely on drops or retuning and re-enhancing the core like previous raids. The core goes from lock to Atropos using the Dragon Raid drop materials. Using 100% Transcension takes about 5 weeks overall. The red core Transcension uses a specific material called the Noble Dragon's Core. This is obtained from the box that drops from the Dragon Raid 4-man or solo stage. The 4-man drops 3 boxes from each stage per week, that adds up to 6 per week. The solo stage requires a ticket and drops 2 or 4 boxes per run. Each box drops 1 core with a minuscule chance of scoring the red core immediately. Transcending your core to red takes 1000 dragon cores. Something new with this raid tier is that we now have 4 different core types. Each has a unique passive starting at Singularity and gains an additional passive when it becomes red. The staff has balanced stats, on-hit damage, and the red gives a percentage max HP damage once per monster. The whip has balanced stats, a stacking roar on FMs, and then red gives a total percentage roar after using ult. The lantern has high roar but low attack speed, conditional crit damage on phase release. Red gives a puddle that does DOT damage. And finally Chakram has low roar, high attack speed, on-hit fizz and psi crit damage stacks. Red gives a stacking crit resistance debuff. There's no clear-cut winner this time around, unlike BK Red. Every core except Staff can be argued for. Staff's on-hit damage is too weak to justify over the 3 cores, and the percentage max HP proc is only once per monster. Whip gives a lot of roar and the red passive stats are huge. However, the red passive also only lasts 20 seconds and has to be triggered via ultimate. Lantern has a lot of base roar and the conditional crit damage boost is fairly significant. It suffers from the buff conditional being random and an underwhelming red passive. The low attack speed may also be uncomfortable for some characters like Mireille or Yunha. Chakram has significantly lower roar than the other cores, but the best overall passives in my opinion. The choice of core is ultimately personal preference here. You can eventually swap them around at the cost of 200 Noble Dragon cores. We don't have that update at the moment, but it should be coming in a couple of weeks. On to the actual bosses. The mechanics are the same for the 4-man party stage and the solo stage, with one particular exception during Heka. We'll start with Levia's mom, as she is the easier one of the 2 bosses. Her normal attacks aren't particularly threatening. The only thing of note is an AoE puddle she will periodically drop on top of herself. It will trip you over if you land in it. This is fairly obnoxious for grounded characters. Additionally, if 2 of these stack together, you can get stun locked if you don't have cancel up. Her mechanic starts after 800 bars, where she will teleport to the middle and a torch in the corner will light up. A 15-second timer starts and she'll start regenerating HP. You simply need to destroy the lit torch to solve this mechanic. Failing to kill the torch within 15 seconds causes it to summon a mob that will start attacking your party. The torches always light up in the same order: top right, bottom left, bottom right, and then top left. If your party is powerful enough, you can simply ignore this mechanic and continue to DPS the boss, as she'll pretty much stay still in the middle for the entire fight. Once all the torches have been destroyed, she enters her finale mechanic. For this one, you have to stay within the AoE circle, as anywhere outside is an undodgeable instant kill. The AoE is split into an orange segment and a purple segment. These alternate after each pulse. Both portions of the AoE can be perfect dodged. The difference is that the purple segment will basically one-shot you without a perfect dodge, whilst the orange segment will deal minimal damage. This mechanic persists until the boss is defeated. Now on to Levia's dad, who is significantly more difficult with more mechanics going on. The main mechanic of this fight is Heka's Authority Aura. As long as the aura is active, you get the following debuffs. Minus 40% air crit damage, and then minus 80% penetration on Fizz and Psy, and all 3 conditionals. A stacking damage taken debuff that goes up to 99 stacks over time. At maximum stacks, you'll be taking double damage, making most of his attacks lethal. He has a few main attacks to watch out for. These progressively become more dangerous as the aura stacks towards 99. First are the tracking red AoEs. These follow all players, and if you happen to get hit, you're pinned down for the remaining red AoEs. It's not fatal unless you're hit a lot, but can be dangerous if people overlap their red AoEs. Second is the double red donut. 2 players will be marked with donut red AoEs. The damage is negligible on this one, but it can disrupt DPS. The 2 marked players should try and stack with each other near the boss, so the safe spots allow for the party to continue DPSing. Third is a black hole that slightly sucks you towards it. While he's casting this, it does map-wide AoE damage. If you are in danger of dying, you will need to use a long iframe here to mitigate the damage. Lastly, the 4 homing balls. This targets a random party member and will likely one-shot if all balls connect. The attack comes out pretty fast, so be cautious when soloing and have an iframe up at all times. For actual mechanics, at 900 bars, the player with the highest current HP gets targeted for a slap. Targeted player needs to bait this orange AoE on top of the orb matching the color of his aura. The aura order is always the same here. It will go from blue in the top left, purple in the top right, yellow in the bottom right, and finally green in the bottom left. Once you bait the slap on top of the orb, perfect dodge it as it lands since it deals a good chunk of damage. The slap will dispel his aura and you will lose the 3 debuffs, allowing the party to dish out significantly more damage to the boss. If you fail to bait the slap onto the orb will explode and do map-wide damage. It's possible to survive if the aura stacks are low, but this is most likely a wipe most of the time. Additionally, you keep the debuffs and the aura will continue stacking to 99. At 800 bars, he'll face the orb that was slapped and charge a laser attack. Here, just stay out of the red AoE and continue DPSing from his back. After the laser finishes, he will destroy the crystal and become stunned. The dungeon's bar will also charge up by 33%. The only dungeon skill we care about here is Lucy, denoted by Ctrl+W. This increases dragon damage by 100%, and the party leader should immediately use it after Heka is stunned. After the stun is over, he will reapply the aura based on the next available orb. There is a small difference in the solo version of this fight. He will not automatically aim at the orb with his laser attack. He will aim at the player character instead, and you will need to bait the attack onto the orb manually. This process basically repeats up to 4 times over the rest of the fight. At 600 bars, another slap happens, bait this onto the purple orb. This is followed by a laser attack at 500 bars. At 300 bars, we get a slap for the yellow orb. At 200 bars, another laser attack. At 100 bars, he'll activate the final green aura. This aura provides constant healing for Heka throughout the rest of the fight, until the aura is removed. The same slap and laser attacks will occur here as well, but the activation is a bit more random due to his constant regeneration. Finally, there is one more mechanic to cover. After 500 bars, he'll periodically do a test. This may be confusing at first, but it's fairly easy to solve once you know the patterns. You are given a lot of time to solve the mechanic, so there's no need to panic. First, you need to confirm the number of dots over your character's head. This can be 1 to 4 dots. Then you just need to match the number of dots to the correct pattern, and then stand in the circle. 1 dot matches the straight line, 2 dots matches the singular arrow, 3 matches the zigzag, and 4 matches the double arrow. The number of dots is different for each player, so only one person should be standing in one spot. The people in the wrong spot are executed after the mechanic ends. Heka is actually vulnerable during this time, so you can greed for more DPS before you have to stand inside your safe circle. And that's pretty much it for the Dragon King raid. Like, subscribe, and join the Nyane cult. Thanks for watching.